It's the end of another month where you have worked way too many hours. And although your skills are so much better than when they were first starting out, somehow your income just hasn't kept pace as you expected. This is Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution. And if you find that you're still connecting your fees to time, then you are probably experiencing what I call the expertise penalty. That's where the better you get, it affects your income and your earning potential. So basically, the better you get, the less you make per task. And the problem is connecting your fees to time, something I talk about over and over and over again, because as you become more expert, you also gain efficiency, you're adding technology. So when you work faster, that means that you are going to be earning less because the fact that your hourly rate has probably been stagnant. It hasn't fluctuated that much. And you shouldn't be earning less as your expertise improves because your value is actually going up. It's not decreasing. So an hourly rate punishes you for expertise and also improving efficiency with technology. And this is exactly what Michael experienced with his accounting firm. Is when we first connected, he was billing about maybe $175 an hour. And he was so stressed out about tracking time, explaining invoices to his price-sensitive clients, and answering their questions about why did this take so long? Is that something you're familiar with also? And when we first started talking about this, Michael said, Lauren, I actually find myself sometimes working slower because I know if I finish too quickly, it's going to lower the invoice. And think about that for a moment. He was finding that his expertise and improved efficiencies with technology was working against him. That's probably true for you too. And the other thing is that time-based fee puts an unhealthy focus on time instead of results. As a result of that, you have some clients who get hung up on why something took so long. Maybe they had a question, and if they would have first reached out to you, it could have been handled very, very quickly. But because they postponed it, it now has escalated, and it's going to take a lot more time to resolve this issue. And the other thing is that when you're charging for time-based fees, your clients don't recognize the value of your work to the degree that they ought to. So this is going to end up causing some price objections, frustration, and ultimately it limits your firm's growth potential. So that's why more and more firms in the industry are shifting away from the a la carte services and time-based fees over to packaging their services and charging for the value. And that is what I want you to think about is time-based fees, whether it's an hourly rate or fixed fee, is not your best price strategy. So let's look at what is working for these forward-thinking firms. And I came across a recent study by CPA.com, and it found that 54% of clients actually prefer investing in packages or bundles as opposed to the a la carte services where they're getting invoiced at the end of the month. And this is not a trend or a fad. It is something that is moving the future of the accounting profession forward. And accounting today found that 70% of firms are already moving towards value-based pricing models. It is something that is happening, and I want to make sure that you're on top of it and you're able to do this without making some of the mistakes that happen when you're first moving in this direction. So think about what are the things that are coming up. But before we go that, I want to start talking about some of the benefits of having packages and value pricing them. Because when you do that, you're going to be more profitable. That is the first thing. And also packages actually bring in steady income. There's not as much fluctuation. So you don't have to worry about the fluctuations that come with invoicing or chasing money. It makes then your planning for your business growth so much more effective and easier. The second thing is that when you move into packages, it creates specific boundaries, and it takes care of the scope creep problem. So now you have a defined process for how you deal with these extra requests that come in from your clients. And you know who some of those clients are who always have extra requests. The third thing that comes is that you start engaging clients who appreciate your service, and not just for the compliance side of what you're doing, but because they value your expertise. They want your insights on how to be able to help them have the best tax advantage possible and also really strong, solid financials in their business. They don't want to simply have the cheapest option available. And then the other thing is that because of all these other things with the packages, it makes the pricing conversation easier regarding your fees. So no more having to justify why something took so long or why it didn't take that long at all, but you're still charging that much. So value pricing allows you to charge for the solution you're providing your clients, not for the hours worked. And doing this is something that is possible for every single accounting, bookkeeping, tax firm out there, whether you're solo or part of one with multiple partners. And also, when you're doing this, you want to avoid some pitfalls. So these are 3 mistakes that often happen, and I just want to share them with you so that you don't have this experience also. The very first one is you end up having packages, which is great, but you're still pricing them too low. And that happens when you make the mistake of still calculating how long you think something's going to take and then figuring out what your hourly rate is and coming up with the price like that. That is a fixed price. That is not value pricing. So when you do that, you are going to essentially be cutting into your profits and selling yourself short. We want to fix that. We don't want that to happen any longer. And that is something that Jessie, a firm owner, experienced also when she was starting to price her packages, and she was thinking about how long does it take to deliver the service, multiplying it by her hourly rate. And she realized even though she was delivering on packages and results, she wasn't bringing in as much profit as she expected. So during one of our first coaching sessions together, we looked at how she was pricing her packages. We adjusted to focus more on the value she was providing and how to be able to communicate that to her clients. And almost immediately, it was a win-win, not just for her, but for her clients also, because she can now work more efficiently, giving her clients faster results, which actually delighted them. And also, she didn't have to worry about how many hours she was working or invoicing after the fact because she was getting prepaid for that service. But as a result of moving in that direction and actually getting away from time-based fees over to value pricing for her packages, she was able to double her revenues and also take control of her schedule. So that is something to think about for you too. That is the first thing, is get away from undercharging because you're trying to calculate how long you think something should take. The second thing is you have an unclear scope definition. You haven't clearly outlined what's included and what's not included. So it's a little bit confusing, not just to your clients, but sometimes to you also. And when you don't have those clear boundaries in place, you already know this, you've been experiencing it also, scope creep sets in. You say yes without thinking about the extra request or the additional workload and adjusting for that. So I don't want you to do what Lisa did. She was so proud about coming up with her packages, but what she did is she offered unlimited email support in each and every package. As a result of that, what first seemed like a nice extra for her clients quickly became overwhelming and a nightmare for her because she was getting all of these requests. And you know the clients who email you on a regular basis, sometimes even multiple times a day, well, they took full advantage of this. They were claiming it's part of my package. It's part of what's included. I can email you as often as I want. It was like open season for them. And that took time away from answering more important emails, as well as doing some of her higher value work. Because, you know, even the small requests take time away from something else you could be doing for your clients. So what we did is we went ahead and clearly defined in each of her packages what that meant as far as boundaries and communication with how many emails a month, and that you're prioritizing the emails that relate to this monthly workload and closing out everything for the month. So that is something to think about, is getting very, very specific about what is included, how many emails, how quickly you respond, which ones you respond to first. And as a result of that, by educating her clients, Lisa was actually able to have clearly defined limits, and the majority of her clients respected that. You know, there's some that think that they are the exceptions. Those she had to deal with, that's a whole other conversation. Okay, mistake number 3 is lack of confidence in how to be able to discuss the packages when you're enrolling either new clients in the packages, or maybe taking a long-term client and changing them over from the a la carte services over to packages. So you don't know how to confidently communicate them. And because of that, you might hesitate. And the other part of it is you don't want to sound salesy whatsoever. So what we want to do is have you come up with the words in order for them to see your expertise, not how much long it's going to take to be able to do the work or the exact things that you're doing. And when you focus on the expertise and how you're going to make things easier and better for your clients, they see you more as that consultant instead of the compliance worker. So Jason, this is the part where he struggled. He had the packages. They were actually priced very well, but he couldn't go into giving the right words in order for people to see the value of moving forward with him in this direction, because he was charging more for certain services than others around him. He wasn't competitively priced any longer. So what we did, and I know that this is uncomfortable, we did some role playing so that he knew exactly how to be able to confidently talk about them, what are some of the things that would show the value, how to be able to effectively deal with objections so they weren't flustering him and he was shutting down the conversation too soon. And as a result of that, he became more confident on knowing what to ask as far as questions, what to highlight as far as benefits that were client-centered, and also how to navigate the objection part of the conversation. So as he did this, his mindset improved. He gained confidence going into these conversations. The role-playing really set the stage for that. And as a result of that, as he was getting more confident, he was enrolling more people, and he just continued to evolve in improving with these pricing and conversations of enrolling people into packages. So what you want to think about is when you're having these initial consultations, you're not just offering a service. You are actually offering a solution to something that is a very real problem for your clients when they're coming to you. And you want to really focus on that, not the task. Don't geek out on the workflow and what you're doing for them. You want to focus on what their pain points are, the challenges that they're very real world experiencing right now, and how you have the expertise as well as the skill set to solve that problem for them. So those are the 3 mistakes I want you to avoid: is pricing too low, unclear scope definition, and also having lack of confidence in your presentation. So as you now know what to avoid, we want to look at what it is you want to do. You want to be able to start looking at some of your services that you provide to most of your clients. Just list them all out. And that starts to become the foundation for your packages. And then you want to think about which are the compliance pieces on this list, the things that just get the work done so they can follow their taxes accurately and in a timely manner. And then you want to think about where do the majority of your clients fit? And that ought to become the middle or the gold package. And then the diamond package is all of the additional things that clients might need. That will include possibly tax strategy as well as tax planning. If you don't do taxes, but you're doing primarily monthly accounting services, then it ought to include maybe outsource CFO level services. And that's the way you want to be able to start thinking about your packages. And the other thing is that if you're meeting with a client and you're talking about enrolling them in the packages, don't just say, oh, we do tax preparation. What you want to say is we offer tax planning and tax strategy year round with quarterly check-ins so that you have the best tax advantage possible. So that is something to think about. And think about how you can go ahead and price it. So when it comes to the pricing part of it, you want to talk about what the investment is moving forward, how most of your clients are able to have a 30 to 40% improvement on their tax situation, or maybe their profit margin grows by a certain percent and the investment is. So once again, you want to focus on the benefits of investing into this package, what it is that they have to gain, and then share what the investment is. That sounds so much better than we charge $150 an hour for tax work. So think about that. And the other thing I want you to do moving forward is to go ahead and list out all your services. Think about what is just the compliance side of what you do, where most of your clients ought to be, and then also what it is that would be advanced for those people that have more complicated situations. So that starts to help you determine what goes into the silver, the gold, and the diamond package. And also that as you're starting to move forward with this and enrolling people into your packages, you're gaining insights so that your packages are evolving on a regular basis. It's not like one and done. This is an evolution as you gain more insights. So once again, I know that moving from a la carte services over to packages might feel difficult, might feel overwhelming. It takes too much time, but I am going to say the benefits outweigh the initial challenges of doing this. You have more predictable revenue. It lets you have higher profitability because the faster you are, the more profitable you become. And also you take back control of your calendar as well as your time. It is well worth the effort. And if you feel like this is something that appeals to you, you don't want to do it on your own. You want to have some help on being able to make sure that you have created packages that reflect your firm's value and are value priced because you don't want to charge by the hour any longer, then reach out to me. Let's have a really focused strategy session on what it is that you want to achieve, how you want to be able to package your services, increase your firm's profitability, and work with higher quality clients. So if that appeals to you, then once again, reach out to me. Go to businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk to be able to get started with that. Anyway, let me know what you took away from this, what resonated with you, what first action steps you're going to start implementing, and where you need some additional information. I look forward to further conversations. Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, showing accounting firm owners how to double their income working half the time.